Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Soup Podcast. No cold opening today because I am here with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and I am Bo, and we're talking about a topic that we forgot to talk about yesterday when we recorded. So, that's what we're here to do. Aaron, how's it going, man?
Good, man.
Yeah. Well,
why don't you just leave the cold open and just plug this in after?
Well, because we go right into the intro blends into the first story that we talked about.
Just put this in the beginning, then play the cold open.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm going to do. It's a good cold opening.
Is it?
Yeah, it's about you and your
my
failures.
Terrible bowling,
Yeah, that was good stuff. Yeah, no, we're going to talk about it quickly. The first topic we have here, because it had to be the title of this of this podcast episode, the first look at the Lord of the Rings TV series. And we also got a premiere date, September 2nd, 2022.
I saw, I guess it was Europe, a European outlet tweet, and you know how they do it opposite? So I saw 2/9/22.
Oh,
I'm like, February?
shit.
Let's get it.
Yeah, they bopped you.
Yeah. I hate them.
What? What? No, don't hate them. Why did we have
No, I
Europe?
hate us.
Yeah, okay. I hate Europe. We have to just flip everything. We just can't be normal. Why can't you be normal? Yeah, September 2022. What's interesting is but the rumor is that House of the Dragon is not going to come out until late 2022 as well. I don't think that they would want to go head to head. You would want to space that out. Nothing's set with House of the Dragon. This looks like it's going to premiere on that date.
Right.
That's kind of set in stone at this point, but anything could be pushed back.
Well, Amazon historically has been released on Fridays. So even if they did go around the same time, we could have a Friday, Sunday type thing. It's not like they would be both coming out at the same day, but I guess
you want to compete with the hype?
No, I guess you would want your own space to kind of operate for those 8 to 10 weeks. So it would definitely be fun for us, but business-wise, I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, it's obviously just a quick still, but right away you could just tell how beautiful it looks. And with Lord of the Rings, obviously from those original movies, that's obviously the story and the characters are great, but the thing that draws you in is just the shots, the cinematography, and that feel of Middle Earth. And just from this picture alone, you can sense that it's going to carry that same feel. And we talked about the massive budget at length on this podcast, and my God.
Season 1 is $450 million, right?
It's like $60 million an episode, and that's ridiculous. And it might, I don't want to get too overreact to that, but it probably can change the way television is viewed. I mean, we're seeing it a little bit with the MCU Disney Plus shows and with Game of Thrones and the massive budgets and the scale they were able to achieve. This is just almost doubling that. And if they continue upping the bar, this being kind of this new age of putting that cinema quality budget into television shows, it's going to really change the way we view things.
Yeah, you always used to say this: if you were a billionaire, you just give your favorite director or writer $1 billion and say, do what you want because I want to see it. Yeah, make movie, make me happy. This kind of feels like that Jeff Bezos is saying, I don't know if this is going to be good for business, but this could just change the way that we view television and the way that we view streaming. This could be Amazon pressuring these other streaming services to up their quality, to make their shows and their movies look more like what you would see when it's out in theaters. I hope they put this in theaters. This reminds me of when we got our first look at The Force Awakens, and it was a return to form, the practical effects. They're shooting the series in New Zealand, and that's where they shot the movies. People were frustrated by The Hobbit because the world didn't look as real. Didn't look like you can walk through Middle Earth and smell the grass and touch the trees and stuff like that. This feels like you're being transported to that world. And like we said, it's almost a year away, about a year and a couple of months here, so September 2022. This is probably I think I'm anticipating this more than House of the Dragon, just because of the budget. And we haven't had good Lord of the Rings for a long time now, almost 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know which one I'm anticipating more. It's hard for me to gauge my hype levels, but for both of them though, I'm super excited. I guess maybe because I really know the House of the Dragon story and have experienced that through the novella, and this is kind of all pretty new to me since my knowledge of this world mostly comes from those first 3 films and the Hobbit films, but thousands of years before that, so I'm not really too it's kind of new for me. It's entering a new world where I think that I have no idea what this is going to be. I'm not familiar at all with
the lore of Lord of the Rings and what came before it.
Yeah, so I'm excited in that sense, and just excited in general. More Lord of the Rings. It's going to be I think it's going to be something that really, I hope it's big. I hope it's huge. I hope it's not something where they put it out and people are like not really like, oh, who cares, Lord of the Rings? Like, oh, those movies from 20 years ago. I hope it has like that Star Wars type feel. Like we're returning back to this world and everyone's excited around it, and it is like a widely viewed show.
I think it will be. I think Amazon does a better job than some of these streaming services at marketing their shows. The numbers that The Boys have put up, The Boys was relatively unknown, and by season 2, it became one of the most streamed series on any platform. So I think we have that nostalgia for the original Lord of the Rings movies, which are still held in such high regard. You watch them, and they look like they were made last weekend. Like they could come out now, and the CGI and the setting, the scenery, it all still looks brand new. And if they do that again with this TV series, it is cool that they did that once with the movies, and now they're attempting it again with television. At the end of the day, even if the narratives suck, if the stories suck, if the characters suck, it's going to look incredible. Mm-hmm. But they have so much to pull from, and they also have a lot of creative freedom because people aren't familiar with the lore of the Lord of the Rings, just like they're not too familiar with the lore of House of the Dragon. We are, because we've read the Wikipedia pages and the novel that George dropped about the Targaryen history. But most average fans haven't read that giant Lord of the Rings, the Silmarillion book. So they have some artistic freedom here, as well as bringing people back into a world that they are familiar with. So they're playing with house money at this point. A lot of house money.
A lot of house money.
But don't you think that you can't make money off of that, right? Pumping $500 million into a TV show. How many more subscribers are you going to get? It feels more like when a team, it's like an NBA owner spending huge on their salary because they want to build the mystique around their franchise and then sell it for $5 billion in 15 to 20 years. Kind of like what Mikhail Prokhorov did with the Nets.
Well, we talked about it later on in this podcast. We could say that because we know what we talked about with Netflix and their originals. Like, what do they view as a success? Because there's not really box office numbers. You can see how many people viewed it, but I guess they have algorithms to decide how people, like, new subscribers. So, like, I'm sure they have something where if a new subscriber watches this right away, you can attribute that whatever $10 a month to that series.
Yeah.
And kind of having it be a stepping stone for their other things and keep people there. I mean, if you don't have Amazon Prime by now, like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just not even for the shows, just for, like, I feel like my mom has Amazon Prime and she just doesn't watch any of the shows. She just has it because she just orders shit from Amazon all the time.
Right.
So a lot of people, more than you think, probably have it already.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't take advantage of the Prime Video, but I think it is tough to gauge what is the success and what's not. A lot of people can view it, but if you don't get more subscribers, then I guess you're just using it to further establish your streaming service.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could be a little bit of that, or a lot of that. These companies like Apple, when Apple got into the streaming game, you make so much money from other things that you can afford to take a loss by producing a $500 million show like Amazon is doing.
I mean, if it's huge, if it's Game of Thrones level, like, then you can talk about merchandising and shit like that.
Yeah.
You can make a lot of your money back.
Right. Yeah, that's where
you need people to fall in love with the characters, fall in love with the show. You know, if I'm going to buy a Lord of the Rings character number 2 Funko Pop, I'm going to really like that character. So it's like you need to get people invested in order to really maximize potential for things like merchandise and other revenue streams.
Game of Thrones really left so much money on the table by not having a good season. The amount of money they could have made in merchandise is just staggering. But like you said, the characters have to be good. And the show has to be good if you want to sell that stuff after the fact. So, yeah, I mean, just from this first image, it got me excited. I was hyped to see it on my Twitter timeline. Looks like we're getting back into Middle Earth, the real Middle Earth, not that CGI fuckfest. And we're both excited.
Definitely.
I wonder if Teddy is. We'll ask him in 2 weeks when he gets back on the pod.
He'll watch episode 1 like 4 weeks into the run.
All right, back to the your scheduled program?
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Was there news? Is Teddy somewhere out there doing a newscast?
I kind of wish Teddy was here because, like, I need somebody to, like, back me up because in, like, my bowling skills. Because, like, we were in, like, a league one time, and I'm not a bad bowler. But the other night, I was on, like, a bowling date, and I shot a 33. And it might be, like, in 10 frames.
Oh,
and it might have been, like, the most, like, embarrassing thing ever. Because I was trying, I curve it, but I couldn't get the curve down. And instead of, like, just changing it up, I stuck with it. And it was probably one of, like, the worst things that ever happened to me. It's just not a good look. You can't average 3 pins over 10 frames.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? Yeah.
3.3. Gutter after gutter after gutter. And I was trying so hard to, like, hold it in, but I was ready to fucking scream and lose it.
So it was a bowling date?
Yes.
So did your date...
She fucking murdered me.
What was her score?
She got, like in the hundreds. And I was just hitting consistently 33.
Are you guys set up for a next date?
Surprisingly.
Wow.
But I honestly, and then I lost into Mario Kart.
Oh, my arcade, fucking God.
In the arcade. So I was like, I wasn't expecting it. I was just like, yo, like, if that's done, then, like, I don't know. Should I be worried? I'm like, yo, like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, you're just gonna watch me bowl 33 and you think that that's good enough for another date? Man. Like, where are your standards?
You think you want to have kids with me? Our kids are gonna be terrible at bowling and Mario Kart. Jesus Christ!
I think
maybe she's into that.
I think it's like I kept trying. It's like I didn't give up. I think that might show resilience. But a 33 bowling, I feel like is like toddler could do better than me.
I'm not gonna hold you. That's a bad score. It's a bad score.
It's not good. It's not a good look.
I'm not a great bowler, but I'm getting to the 50s.
I've been
on a really bad day,
and it's been, like, bothering me.
But yeah, like you said, you've been in bowling leagues
with Teddy. Like,
the curve is. I don't mess with the curve.
I used to have the curve. I just couldn't get it down again.
Yeah,
and I kept going. I'm like, I'm just not gonna keep going.
I
progressively gotten better. I think I hit, like, next game I hit like 50. So.
Okay. Well, if it was the first game, it was a warm-up game.
That's what I kept saying.
Yeah. What did she hit the next game? 200.
I lost every game.
Right.
But, like, we were on a team because there was like a double type situation, and we made, like, a bet, like, oh, loser has to losing team has to, like, buy dinner or whatever, or drinks, and
losing team has to get vaccinated.
And it was basically like, hey, you gotta, like, carry us because I'm useless at this game of rolling a ball straight down the pins. And even when I tried to straighten it out, it just wasn't going. I was in my own head. I was ready to just fucking give up on life. At
that point, you got to go overhand.
They had, like, the little ramp. I was going to bust that out. But I think, like, the best thing for me to do now is I got to find something I'm good at to demonstrate some value. But I don't know what that is. Should we go to a movie and I can just review it after?
Yeah, just point out all the things that she missed about the movie.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she's next coming of Roger Ebert. And then I hire her to replace you and she starts doing video essays. And then we get married. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Soup Podcast. I'm Bo Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are about to talk about the world of Hollywood. No Teddy here today. He said he was going to be here, and then all of a sudden, he wasn't. Tragic. But he will be here on Thursday, so that should be fun. We're going to be reviewing The Green Knight. We're just waiting on him.
It's like when Leslie and Ron bowls, and, like, no one's convinced that she's a good bowler. She's like, X Ron. That's kind of me with my ex-Teddy.
Ex-Teddy.
I'm not not great at any by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm, like, capable. I want to put that out there.
The way he curves his bowling ball, that shit hugs.
He taught me the curve.
Yeah.
I got it down, and I just could not replicate it. And I was trying.
Well, maybe you guys go see The Green Knight together, and then you go bowling after. And then everybody else can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, the Nerd Soup Podcast on YouTube. Follow us on social media at Nerd Soup, Bo Soup, Nerd Soup Monkey. We're talking a lot of good things, trailers, casting news, lawsuits, and once again, Aaron being a terrible bowler in doses.
In that time.
At that point.
I'm going back by myself.
Yeah, go back like I did with Injustice.
Yeah. I'm going to play, and then, like, I'm going to aggressively
maybe grow a mustache.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I want to be like that guy. You ever see that picture? It's the plaque of a guy who bowled the 300 on 9/11, 2001.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about a man that didn't let things get to his head.
Yeah, so either two scenarios here. He went for like a little early morning bowl and like was in the zone, got out, and like he left and like put in the news like, holy shit, it's 9/11. Or he was just like, fuck, I need to go bowl.
Yeah, I need a bowl for the...
It's like I need to
bowl for America.
Get my mind off things. I'm going to go roll a casual 300.
And at the end, he's like, this is the best day of my life. Oh, well, no, oh, well.
I like to think, like, for that moment, like, people in the bowling alley all depressed, they had something to root for. They see this guy at the end, and it's like, oh, my God, he's going to have to bowl 300.
What do you think was better, that or Piazza's home run?
Oh, Piazza's home run. Bush's first pitch is pretty sick, too. For him to
straight down the middle.
Throw a strike in that moment, that was pretty good. It was
to be fair to him, he probably didn't know what was going on until like 10 days after.
Hey, dude's a big baseball.
It's like, wait a minute, there was an attack? Like, yeah, George. So, you're just happy to be there throwing out the first pitch. And I'm still disappointed that the Yankees lost that World Series, man. It's
like the Diamondbacks should have
thrown it.
Yes.
Especially the way we lost it.
Yeah, walk off against Mo.
Mo threw it to fucking Bernie. Got a man.
I mean, Luis Gonzalez, like, good for you and everything, but like, you just ruined a picture-perfect storybook ending. I think movie.
The 21st century would have gotten off to a better start if they would have let the Yankees win.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the chaos that ensued, because that wasn't a great decade.
I think I had a good early 2000s. What was I like?
You hate America?
I was like 10.
Who were you rooting for?
10 to 20 in that time, 10 to 17.
Yeah. 10 to 20.
7 to 17.
Right, yeah.
I feel like I thrived in that era.
This is gonna be my decade.
This
is gonna be our decade, yeah.
Off to a terrible start.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Well, talk about terrible starts or terrible continuations. I mean, I like the first Venom. You did not. Most people didn't. Venom 2 looks significantly worse. And this
it looks about the same.
Oh, about the same for you. For me, it looks a little bit worse. Like I said, I was a fan of the first Venom. This is the second trailer. We got a better look at Woody Harrelson's Carnage in this trailer. And yeah, everything about it, the humor, the CGI, the plot line just looks worse than the first one. And for you, about the same.
It just seems like, right, so Carnage is... I think that's a character people have been looking forward to see on the screen for a while. I remember back in the day, like even with the other Spider-Mans, people were like just wanting to see Carnage on the big screen.
Yeah.
Doing Carnage, making Carnage, being Carnage.
Yeah, he bees himself and...
Be yourself,
Carnage. Be yourself, Carnage.
I'm just going to keep saying Carnage because it's a fun word to say. But...
Carnage.
I think
Carnage.
like...
They need to get Snoop for this one.
God,
why doesn't Snoop do that, so?
Why did Eminem do it for Venom? I don't know.
It fits. Very appropriate.
He seems like a Venom guy.
Yeah. There's the vibes of Eminem and the vibes of Venom are very similar.
But like, so I'm excited in that sense to see Carnage. But I just don't like Eddie Brock or Venom or Tom Hardy in that role. It just seems very off to me. Even the comedy and the voice of the Venom character and them going back and forth, it's just so contrived and like it's not like free flowing. It just seems, I don't know, it's very, very shoddy for me. And that's why I really couldn't get into the first movie, because tonally I felt that it was all over the place and none of the comedy really like stood out to me. And if that's what you're going for, the dynamic between the Venom alien and Eddie Brock, then if that's going to be the vocal point of this movie again, then I'm just not going to be interested unless they completely ramp up that dynamic and relationship into something I deem enjoyable. Which from the trailer, I don't think that's going to happen.
I can't get over the fact that these characters look like Spider-Man. I think it's so stupid. I don't know what's going on with the continuity here, because Vulture shows up at the end of the first trailer, played by Michael Keaton. There's no hints of a connection to the MCU here. Oh, no, Vulture is in the Mobius trailer, right?
Yes.
Well, and Mobius is supposed to be in the same universe as Venom and Venom 2 with Carnage. I think Woody Harrelson is a great casting. He's great at playing these unhinged antagonists. I think he was great in War for the Planet of the Apes, even though he didn't have much to do, but he really shines in his scene. He really is a talented actor. He can really do anything. But like you said, from just looking at this trailer, the humor looks corny and cheesy. Eddie Brock was never convincing to me in the first movie. I mean, he's more convincing as someone It's almost as if he always had Venom living inside of him. It's like the casting of Jack Nicholson for Jack Torrance in The Shining. You already know he's crazy. You're not going to convince people that this was a sane man who went crazy. He just looks crazy from the get-go. It's the same thing with Eddie Brock. He just doesn't seem like a journalist. He seems like a guy who's living with a parasite that talks to him inside of his own head.
Well, that's the one difference from like the book to the movie when we're talking about The Shining is John Torrance's like transformation. Like in the book, it's much more believable. In the movie, it's just like I'm going to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
But obviously,
Stephen King was upset about that with the casting. He wanted more of a straight man. I think Venom, Tom Hardy's a great actor. We all know that. Yeah. But it is a case of sometimes you don't necessarily fit a role, or it's not that he can't do it, but he chose not to. They just start him as Venom from the very beginning. There's not much of a personality change there. He always looked kind of sweaty and like bad hygiene and crazy.
I don't buy him even in the first movie, I didn't buy him as a reporter.
No. You know who would have been better? I mean, he would never do this, but Adam Driver. I think Adam Driver could have been a convincing reporter, and then he gets infected with the symbiote, and that makes him a bit more unhinged. But it's like in Whiskey Tango Foxtrot with Margot Robbie.
Love that movie.
It's one of my top 10s of the decade. When Margot Robbie's an investigative journalist living in Afghanistan. Why? No way. Nobody who looks like Margot Robbie would become a journalist. Sorry, you become Margot Robbie. You become a model or an actor or an IG baddie.
If I was Margot Robbie, I would be a journalist.
No, you wouldn't. Society wouldn't let you be a journalist. It's like when Leo applies for the Boston Police Department in The Departed. Like, you should be an astronaut, kid.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want to be a double agent.
They let Matt Damon in.
And they're like, you're an idiot.
They're like, oh, you don't think that's offensive anymore? Welcome to the Boston PD.
Right, yeah. I mean, geez. He probably watches that movie now after, a few months ago it was fine. It was hilarious to him. But now, 2 months later, we were so...
Oh, in that movie, he lets it fly, too.
Oh, yeah. All over the movie. A lot of slurs in The Departed.
I'd like make the news hot, though. I like that.
Matt Damon, you think he's just giving us hot news?
No, Margot Robbie.
Right. Yeah. Oh, make the news hot again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seemed to be a big thing back in like the 70s and 80s, right? The hot newscaster, news anchor. I mean, the way people thirst over Jake Tapper these days. But now they're very much news hot,
Yeah. By the way, quick aside, Steve Kornacki, them bringing him on to do his shtick in the Olympics, I don't like it.
I thought that was hilarious. I thought the way he played it up was cute. You're just mad because John King would never be brought in for that. Because he's more respected.
No, Steve, get your bag.
Right.
But also, like...
You think he's selling out?
No. It's the corporate suits.
Kornacki khakis.
It's the hacks. at top, it's like, oh, people like Kornacki during elections. Yeah, because that's his element. I don't care about him discussing the shot put statistics from last Olympics and world competitions. But, yeah, anyway, Tom Hardy.
You think Steve Kornacki could act in a Wes Anderson movie?
I think he's built for that.
I think he'd fit those vibes.
Yeah.
We have Tom Hanks appearing in the next Wes Anderson movie, so maybe we get a little Hanks and Kornacki action. It's a romance being...
I had a dream like that once.
Set in Spain. That you were in a romance film set in Spain with Steve Kornacki and Tom Hanks?
I wasn't in it.
You were just outside... Third person?
Yeah, third person.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about this casting news?
I like it a lot. Tom Hanks. What was his last, Hanks movie?
Maybe Captain Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
Bridge of Spies, Mark Rylance won the Oscar. It was Tom Hanks being Tom Hanks. It's a perfect movie for him.
Still hate that Oscar.
But the last classic, I mean, it's always more difficult as these actors and actresses age because you don't get as good of roles. You look at, once again, I'll just name drop again, Adam Driver. Not a name drop, but just bringing him up. He's in the prime of his career. Right now, I mean, how many movies does he have coming out this year, right? 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. And it seems like he's in at least 2 every year. You get the best roles when you're in your 30s or your 40s. So even though Tom Hanks is a legend, like you said, he hasn't had that Hanks role. Maybe
I need a Hanks banger.
Even before, I would say Captain Phillips.
Well, he's good in everything. It's not like I'm just saying, in terms of, classic performance and good movie.
Right. Well, his run in the 90s was quite the run.
Even in the early 2000s, he was everything he was in.
I thought he was great
fantastic.
as Mr. Rogers.
That's fair. That's fair. But
very appropriate role for him.
I mean, it's a great fit, I feel like. Wes Anderson, obviously, every time we discuss a Wes Anderson film, we know what it's going to be for the most part, stylistically. And kind of matching that vibe, I think he works with a lot of older actors and actresses that kind of work well in that kind of setting. Think of all the Bill Murrays, Tilda Swintons, and everyone else he worked. Like, I think he can pop into that world. And
yeah, like even when Bruce Willis was in Moonrise Kingdom.
Yes.
He was great in that. And how often do you get a good Bruce Willis performance?
Not often.
Yeah, I'm surprised Tom Hanks hasn't already been in a Wes Anderson movie.
I would love for Owen Wilson to be in this.
He's got to be.
He hasn't been. And Luke, he gives Luke the word.
Yeah, he's going to be in The French Dispatch.
Luke Wilson?
I think both of them are in it.
Oh, nice.
But The French Dispatch is very much like an anthology. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be all these different stories that the journalists are working on. So nobody's going to have that much of screen time, I imagine. I'm very excited to see that. But yeah, it's going to be taking place in Spain, and the other cast members who have been announced, Adrian Brody, Bill Murray, and Tilda Swinton so far.
Of course.
Adrian Brody, that's how he gets his work these days. There's Wes. Wes?
Well, he's going to be in Succession, right?
Oh, yeah, that should be fun.
So I might watch The Pianist. I keep seeing it.
You've never seen it?
No, I've seen it, but I keep seeing it. I think it's on Netflix.
You want to be depressed?
No.
That is a depressing Holocaust movie.
Yeah, most of them are.
Schindler's List, man. So sad. The Pianist is depressing because it's like he's not in a camp. It's like what he has to go through just to avoid the camp. You know? It's a physically exhausting movie.
I know.
And mentally.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't watch it.
Yeah, what the hell, man? That's a one-timer. I mean, it's a great movie.
But it's like, his performance is so great in that. But it's also, too, like, it's an interesting way to, like, look at his career. It's like, how do you do this? And then not even, like, get opportunities to even come close to that performance.
Yeah, he messed up.
And you do Splice, which I always will mention when we talk about Adrian Brody.
I need to write that video essay. What the hell happened to Adrian Brody?
He did Splice.
There we go. Be 2 minutes, monetize that bitch.
Have you ever watched it?
No, I haven't.
You got to watch Splice.
I haven't watched it yet. I may watch that tonight. Teddy texted me yesterday. He's like, I watched Dead Poets Society.
Good for Ted.
No, just out of nowhere. Robin Williams was nice. I was like, huh? He's like, I just watched Dead Poets Society.
Robin Williams was trending like a week ago, and it made me super upset. I was just like, wow. I can't believe it. Still. Like, he was just the best. I went back and watched like some of his old bits and everything like that. Just think about like Dead Poets Society, obviously. Why can't I think of the fucking Matt Damon movie?
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting.
That was trending.
That just, you ever get that? Like something so obvious you just can't think of it?
All the time.
Yeah. And obviously Flubber, all of his classical roles.
I love Flubber.
He did Flubber and Good Will Hunting in the same year, I think. It might not have been Good Will Hunting, but another good movie. But
dynamic talent.
Yeah. But yeah, I was looking at that and I got super depressed.
One of my favorite interviews ever is Craig Ferguson interviewing Robin Williams, and they were on the exact same wavelength. It was amazing, the back and forth between them. He was quite the talent. So when Teddy texted me that, I was like, where's it streaming? He goes, I rented it.
Good.
I told Teddy, I was like, you know what? I think this is where we end our friendship. My work here is done.
Yeah, nothing left he could do.
Yeah, I just sent him the So Long partner.
Yeah, but then he once goes to see Jungle Cruise instead of The Green Knight.
Did he see Jungle Cruise?
I don't know, probably.
Oh, man.
I'm just saying that's something he would do. It's got great reviews.
What's its score on Rotten Tomatoes?
I think it was like a 93 when The Rock tweeted about it.
That was an audience score.
Oh.
He likes hyping up his audience scores. So I have to imagine the critic score. Because when the critic score is good, he hypes it up.
I'm pretty sure it was a critic score.
Let's see. Well, because he included it as his highest with the other movies that clearly didn't have those types of critic scores. Let's see. Moment of Truth. 63. Not bad.
Oh, damn.
93 audience. You know the audience is always spot on, though. They loved Uncut Gems, Green Knight.
I do find that.
Hated The Last Jedi. These critics, though, man, you can't trust them. But audiences, you can trust.
Are we officially critics now?
Oh, yeah, because of TIFF?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that, man. Yeah, we're going to, well, hopefully we manage to get into the country. We're doing some backdoor deals here.
Yeah.
We got to bribe Trudeau.
Because now I feel like, you got to be, we got to carry ourselves a different way. We got to fit in.
Show up to TIFF in a Yankees jersey.
Do we have to wear suits, you think?
No.
Okay. I don't want to wear a suit.
Well, let's hope that the fucking country's not locked down by then.
That's true.
Because Canada has not officially allowed U.S. citizens to enter the country. It's supposed to be August 8th. So, I mean, Vegas is not shutting down, but the mask mandate is back. The mask mandate's back all over California. There are a lot of places, a lot of counties in these states are now recommending indoor masks. We just got it in New York.
I can't do this again.
Yeah, so maybe TIFF will be a digital experience for us. Either way, we're going to hopefully be seeing Dune a little early, so we can get that review out for everybody who listens to our podcast.
Well, you casuals out there.
Jesus. No, this is for the soup community.
No, that was awesome, man. I mean, I think it's not I don't know how hard it is to get it, but
it's one of those things where I don't think a lot of people are looking.
Yeah. But even just to get accepted and have that opportunity, I was really happy that day. I was the most excited or genuine happiness I've felt in a while, which is kind of depressing. But anyway, I was just super pumped, and I'm
the opportunity to watch movies there,
just to go experience
overwhelming.
I was like, wow, this is actually pretty cool, and it's I can't wait, man.
I'm also excited to go to Toronto.
I've never left the country before.
Wow.
This is a big deal for me.
Fucking Aaron Bourdain over here.
I know. I'm going places. Literally the closest city to
right, yeah.
Right on the other side of Buffalo.
Our state borders this country.
But
we should go to Mexico next.
A country nonetheless.
A country, yes.
So
even though Canada feels like light diet US, or maybe we're die Canada.
I do like hockey, so I'll fit right in.
Well, moving on to the next story here. We have Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney over some back-end profits. So this is sure to get ugly as the weeks and months go on. But yeah, the initial story was that Scarlett Johansson and her team are suing Disney because in her contract, she was going to get some back-end profits from Black Widow. But Disney decided to release Black Widow not only in theaters, but on Disney Plus Premier Access. So, of course, Disney fired back with a statement of their own, saying that it was a callous and cruel disregard for the COVID-19 pandemic coming from the company.
Fuck you.
That opened their parks in the heart of the pandemic when there were no vaccines, when there was no possible way to maintain social distancing because they wanted to make those profits.
If you want to have a nice court battle, fuck it, go for it. It's whatever, Disney corporations, whatever, but to use the COVID as an excuse and to try to make that backfire on Scarlett Johansson is absurd.
Yeah, and listen, Disney was put in a tough spot. All of these studios were.
Right.
But if you're going to
didn't say that,
renegotiate the contract.
We were in a tough spot, this is what we had to do for we felt was the best, whatever. Do whatever company bullshit you need to, but to be to say that Scarlett Johansson oh man, that's just fuck the fucking mouse.
It was a personal attack.
It was.
And when they came back with their statement and they said, "Hey, Scarlett Johansson has been an employee of Disney for many, many years. She has appeared in movies that have made hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars." And listen, she's the second biggest star of those movies. She is. It's Robert Downey Jr. and then it's Scarlett Johansson. Those are the two biggest names. Maybe she's not the most impactful character, but you best believe that she's a draw.
Yeah.
That she was a draw in Iron Man 2 and that she was part of why the Avengers made so much money. She's one of the most famous and iconic names. You were talking before the podcast that she's so mysterious. There's a mystique around her. You don't know much about her because she's so private. She's almost like an old Hollywood star, right? How old actors and actresses used to maintain that secrecy to kind of build up their legacy. And she's done a good job of that. So for them to come out and make it about COVID and to attack her personally is very fucked up. And Disney, I mean, Jesus Christ, to call an individual greedy, you're Disney, guy. But I guess this is how it goes, right? Because
right, I mean,
the general public tends to side with the company over
same
labor.
Thing with sports.
Yeah, same thing.
It's Scarlett Johansson, already a millionaire. Why is she complaining about a little bit of extra. Well, that's the contract. That's what you do. Same thing with like, why are you holding out for a new contract? Well, the team's making money hand over fist. I don't know what my career is going to be tomorrow. I'm trying to get what I can while I can. It's like, yeah, sure, millionaires versus billionaires, but, you know, from this level, the talent, the millionaires, you got to pull for them and try, because what's happening to them is basically getting taken advantage by the billionaires. Now, look, I'm not going to be like, oh, poor Scarlett Johansson, you're not going to make the extra $5 million on top of your $100 million plus net worth, but if that's her contract and that's kind of Disney's like shady back dealings and not renegotiating, then yeah, she has every right to sue.
Yeah. And when you sue, it's going to go public, and people are going to assume that there's bad blood between Disney and Scarlett Johansson. So for Disney to come out and make it even bloodier, that's what they did with their statement. Like you said, they could have came out and said, listen, we were put in a tough spot. We put the movie out on Premiere Access. We believe that it's fair. Scarlett Johansson was compensated, and we'll move on. Yeah. And proceedings will proceed. But instead, they went super personal, so now it's going to get ugly. The whole idea of Black Widow coming back to life after Loki messed up the timelines, squash that. Well, and now they're saying Emma Stone is weighing her options. Right.
And, like, listen, it's, again, Emma Stone, wildly popular, plenty of money. She probably doesn't need it, but that's kind of, when you're still getting screwed out, like, you're not just going to be like, oh, okay, sit there and let that set a precedent for future films. What if it was, I don't know, Luca? What if, like, the creator of, like, you know, the director had some other deal with box office and they put it on Disney Plus? I doubt the director, like, he's probably doing well. I don't know who it is. I'm sorry, maybe I should have known, but that was just an example that popped into my head. Like, what if the same thing happened to him? Someone who's not maybe as financially secure as Emma Stone or Scarlett Johansson.
Right. That's a great point. This makes you think, who else is being taken advantage of?
Yeah.
Because even The Rock, they said that The Rock wasn't going to sue over Jungle Cruise. But he's in a position where, okay, I don't need that. I don't want to mess up my image that I have with the general public and get into a spat.
Let's say like Green Knight, Dev Patel. I'm sure he's pretty well off, but what do you think his net worth is? Maybe $10 million?
Yeah, right.
So, like, what if he had a thing in Green Knight? Like, what if that situation happened where they put it on streaming and he had a deal that got fucked over? Like, that could be a significant, like, hit when it's not, obviously, when you're talking about actors who don't have that same draw yet, who are just building their career and building their net worth and kind of going forward there, and directors and other cast members who might have the same deals in place. So it's like, I'm sure maybe Scarlett Johansson isn't necessarily thinking about that. Like, I'm going to set a precedent to help the people underneath me, but that's kind of what it does. It kind of builds a foundation for other people who get maybe taken advantage by studios during this time, or even as the future continues when you see studios just do this post-pandemic, right? Because if they realize, hey, we can just put it on our streaming service, we don't have to do a wide theatrical release, that can just continue a lot of these problems in the future. And if they're going to not be faithful for their contracts, and they do need to step up and be like, hey, this isn't right.
This is a point that I stole from John Campea, but I've often said it on the podcast. Actors and actresses are overpaid when it comes to Hollywood. Just look at the returns, look at the profits. If you want to make movies cheaper and more accessible for everyone, you stop paying actors these ridiculous amounts of money. However, if you negotiated a contract and it says you're going to get 2.5% of the box office, and then all of a sudden those box office numbers are hurt because you put it out on streaming, you do have every right to sue. When it comes to sports, it's even more egregious. You look at Lionel Messi, they don't play that shit in Europe. Lionel Messi made $700 million in 4 years. Patrick Mahomes is going to make $510. So when I say LeBron James is underpaid, and people, they're not going to feel bad for LeBron James, it's simply economics.
Yeah.
It's about the money that you are bringing in. They don't have that argument here, but the argument here is that, hey, I negotiated the contract. You've done this for other actors. You do this for, that's how Robert Downey Jr. became super rich. It's because he always had those back-end deals, and these Avengers movies fucking blew up. And you look at what the MCU has done over the last 10 years, how many billion-dollar movies they've produced. It's a smart move. It's a smart move by an actor, by the actor's agent, to negotiate some of those percentage points. So, like I said, I imagine that this is going to play out over the course of a few months, and they're going to settle outside of court.
Yeah.
That's how these things usually go. But I think you made the best point, is that it sets a precedent for studios not to fuck over actors. But even so...
It's bad business, too.
Yeah.
One of the biggest stars in the world. Let's not have a great relationship with her. Over, I think, ashtray money for Mickey Mouse. Oh, they can't smoke at Disney. Couch cushion money.
Couch cushion. Ho-ho. Little penny. Yeah, well, talk about studios having bad relationships with their actors. Apparently, Warner Brothers and J.K. Simmons have a good relationship because they are continuing their relationship with J.K. Simmons coming back to play Commissioner Gordon in the Batgirl HBO Max movie. We talked about this a few weeks ago on the pod. Leslie Grace, who just recently appeared in The Heights, will be playing Batgirl. In the Heights. So this was interesting. We were wondering on that podcast if this movie was going to tie into the DCEU in any way, since it was only coming out on HBO Max, and that's something the DCEU has only done with Wonder Woman 1984, which also came out in theaters. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I with Batgirl now being introduced to the DCEU, which I don't even know what that is at this point because we have Batfleck appearing in set photos on the Flash movie. J.K. Simmons was obviously the Commissioner Gordon in Justice League, so that means that this Batgirl could be his niece, could be his daughter, however they want to spin it. But J.K. Simmons is a fantastic actor. I think he didn't get a fair shot as Commissioner Gordon.
I'd be pissed if I was him. Did you see those workout photos?
I know, yeah, he did all that work to be the jacked Commissioner.
Nothing.
Right, yeah, all for nothing. Just to voice Omni-Man. To be more jacked. Yeah. But this is cool news. I think Gary Oldman he's so underrated as Commissioner Gordon, and he's such an important character to the Batman lore. He really is that fourth sidekick, or the third sidekick after Robin and Alfred. It's even more so than Robin in the recent times.
Yeah.
Gordon is the guy. Gordon's the GOAT, the in-between with Batman and the GDCP. GCPD. GCPD. FDNY. So this is cool. I mean, I'm happy for Leslie Grace, as I mentioned on the last podcast. I think she's going to kill it in this role. And I love Batgirl from the comics.
I'm surprised you like Batgirl after the countless beatdowns I gave you in Justice while playing with Batgirl.
Maybe I'm into that.
Yeah.
Just made me like Batgirl more. Maybe I was throwing those fights because I was... Never stood a chance. Yeah, keep going.
Fucking ingrained into your brain.
Yeah, I could just see her doing that little hip move.
Definitely excited for this. I mean, like you said, we didn't really get much as J.K. Simmons as this character, and I think we both really liked the casting when it was first announced, but obviously we never did get the solo Batman, Matt Reeves, whatever film they were going to make together with Commissioner Gordon, J.K. Simmons, Commissioner Gordon being an integral part in that, so... It will be nice to see. I think, like you said, Commissioner Gordon is such a crucial part of Batman, of those comics, of those movies, and it's for him to be in that role. So we're gonna get Jeffrey Wright and J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon next year, right?
Yeah.
So big year for CG. Commissioner Gordon.
CJG. JG. Jim. Nice firm name for a commissioner.
I don't like Jim.
Jimmy.
I'm out on like basic names.
You're not a basic name guy anymore?
If I ever have a kid, like I just want something, nothing too flashy, but like
Romulus?
Like John, like
Craig.
Can't
name him Larry or Craig or Kevin.
It's LeBron.
Gotta give him something everybody can remember. Well, speaking of dope names, Taika Waititi. You hear about this? Maybe a little Taika. Little Aaron Taika.
Taika's a dope ass name.
It is. Taika Waititi.
So
I'm convinced it's the name.
I like people. Aaron. It's not like super conventional, but it's like it's common, but not too common. It's like right in that middle point.
Yeah, I mean, safe to say I didn't like my name. Because I just gave myself a new name for the podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I love when people discover what my real name is. Even now, people are like, what? He's not Bo?
I call you Bo.
You do it more often now.
Yeah. Like to like other people.
Yeah, right. Well, it was funny when we were playing Smash that one time and Teddy accused you of throwing the bat at him. You're like, that wasn't me. That was fucking Bo. And we all just looked at each other like... Should we cancel the pod?
Yeah, I think so.
It's getting too much into our heads. But yeah, Taika Waititi is going to be directing a live-action Flash Gordon film. And at first, this was announced it was going to be animated.
Yeah, this came out
months ago.
Maybe even years.
Yeah, could have been.
I always thought it was live action.
Yeah, them mentioning that it was supposed to be animated kind of brought back a flicker in my memory. Like, oh yeah, I guess that makes that would have made more sense to me.
My only knowledge
Flash Gordon.
really of Flash Gordon is from Ted.
I know, I've never seen it.
And I know he played quarterback for the Jets.
Right. Tom Brady is Flash Gordon. I mean, Thor Ragnarok is kind of like, has so much Flash Gordon in it. And I mean, even from this statement from, I think it was Taika's agent or one of the producers of the movie. Yeah. John Davis said, obviously, this is a movie that was heavily influential on Taika Waititi. He's kind of nailed that style and bringing it to the 21st century. Thor Love and Thunder looks like it's going to be even more like Flash Gordon than Thor Ragnarok was.
Yeah. Maybe than even Flash Gordon is.
So I guess you do what you know. You do what you like.
I mean, like I said, I'm not into it, but like Taika Waititi is just, I want to live in his mind for a day. Just to like, I feel like that's a fun place to be.
Yeah, it seems like a fun place to be between Rita
his wit, his humor,
Tessa
his
Thompson.
idea. Oh yeah, well,
that looked super fun.
Yeah, no, I just want to be Taika Waititi.
That man is living the 8.5 director's life. He is the superstar rock star director. It's so hilarious.
Like his vibes and just like, I think
good actor.
Ooze onto like into his films, and it just creates such a like. I don't care what he's making at this point. It's like I want to see what he makes.
Yeah.
Even like how we talked about before, like depressing like Nazi movies. Jojo Rabbit was still super like sad and depressing, but there was just a element of just like fun, an element of fun to it, like while watching these kids in this world. Obviously, it's going to be kind of like that, but also have deeper themes and obviously not shy away from a lot of what we know about that era. But even in that movie, like he was still able to incorporate his vibe and create a very wholesome journey for Jojo. And
yeah, I mean, he made Hitler hilarious. It's very hard to do. Charlie Chaplin did it first. Let's be fair.
But I feel like back then.
Well, back then they also
they didn't even know.
Yeah, they didn't know how bad he was.
Like, oh, look at his mustache.
Right.
That guy seems fun.
He's hilarious, and his funny speeches.
Yeah.
Which Taika also nailed.
So they didn't have translators back then.
I know, or
captions.
Right.
They probably did. I just assumed that maybe they didn't, and they were just seeing this mustache man yelling. So like, what's he doing?
If it was
turns out planning to take over the fucking world.
He wasn't planning anything good.
No.
If it was any other director, it would seem like no-name director, studio just wants to do it because they think that Flash Gordon will make money. But it wouldn't. But studios do that all the time. They take old properties that they think will still... Like when they redid Ben-Hur. Like, who wants to see the remake for Ben-Hur?
Probably my grandparents.
Yeah, a cash grab. But this, because it's Taika Waititi and because we know how much this movie meant to him, I'm excited for it. And like you mentioned, whatever this guy is planning to do, I'm on board. Because I trust him and I trust his vision so much because it's a vision that I've enjoyed watching time and time again.
Yeah.
But, it's so far away. I could see this never happening.
I want to be so sure. If you already have him attached and he's passionate about it, then I could see this going ahead.
Well, where the hell is his Akira movie?
He's got a lot. Yeah, he's got a lot in the pipeline, huh?
Did you see that wiki post? It was the House of Gucci, how many different directors it went through?
No.
It started with Ridley Scott in 2006.
Well, he's still a producer, right?
Yeah. Well, no, he's directing it now.
Oh, okay.
It is it started with Ridley and then it got back to Ridley in the span of 15 years. It went to his I think it was his son or
Jason?
Like a son in...
Jason Scott?
Is that his name?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Ridley Scott Jr., maybe. And then it went to Wong Kar-wai at one point, which that would have been awesome. And then it went back to Ridley. And I think there were a couple other directors in between. And the actors and actresses as well. Mm-hmm. There were different actors and actresses for the two lead roles. And obviously now it's Adam Driver and Lady Gaga. And we got to see the character posters, which we didn't put on the topics. And they looked really good.
Did you put the Don't Look Up on the topics?
What's Don't Look Up?
The Leo movie?
Oh, well, that was just one image, right?
No, there was like a little teaser.
Okay. How long was it?
Like 30 seconds, 45 seconds. We saw Leo, Jennifer Lawrence, Jonah Hill, and Meryl Streep.
You got to give me a minute to talk about that. I mean,
yeah,
what do you want me to say? I'm excited.
There's really nothing in there.
Meanwhile, they were having an orgy. Big news, big news. Yeah, we're excited for Taika Waititi's Flash Gordon. We're excited for whatever he does. His next threesome as well. Can't wait to see that. Let's move on to the last topic here. We've got some weekend box office results. It is Monday that we are recording this, dropping on Tuesday, but we're going to talk about The Weeknd, who made some money. Coming in at number 1.
Speaking of The Weeknd, I like The Weeknd.
The musician?
Yeah, I've been getting into him lately.
He wants to write movies.
Good.
Did you see that A24 Travis Scott script?
Yes, I did.
What the hell?
It's lit.
Astroworld.
But yeah,
the movie.
I've been getting I've always liked The Weeknd, but I don't think I've realized how much I like The Weeknd until recently. I was on
Ladies and gentlemen.
I was on like a trip. I was on a road trip and popped on some Weeknd. I'm like, yo, he's good.
Yo, there might be something to this guy. He should do the Super Bowl halftime show.
He should be in Uncut Gems.
What was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah, the box office. Number 1, coming in at number 1, Jungle Cruise, $32.2 million for a total of $32.2 million. I think we have some international numbers for Jungle Cruise as well, but these are just domestic. The Green Knight, $6.7 million. Old brought in another $6.7 million for another total of $30 million. Black Widow, $6.4 million for a total of $167.1. And Stillwater brought in $5.1 for a total of $5.1 million. Yeah, it looks like it is.
Did you see that controversy?
No, what was the Stillwater controversy? The other story I wanted to bring up was the Lamb trailer. Did you see that trailer? Shit was freaky. I don't like movies with animals.
Did you see Pig yet?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Did you see it?
No, I want to.
It's actually very good.
Where is it available?
In theaters.
I haven't seen it in any theaters by us.
It may be out already. They may have taken it out of theaters. No, I think I saw it opening weekend.
Oh.
I went with my nephew. He absolutely hated it.
Well, anyway, I think what we were talking about.
Box office.
Stillwater. Oh, yeah, Stillwater. Like the person who was based on was like upset because they basically just like made a movie about her life. And like she had no input or...
Amanda Knox, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't she wrongfully accused of murdering her boyfriend?
Murdering her roommate?
Her roommate.
Yes. And then I didn't really... It was a long thread. So I kind of just looked at other people's reactions, which I normally do. But it's... apparently she was upset that like they didn't, I guess, get the story from her side or the way the movie portrayed that story. And she literally got nothing for it, even though it is her story. So that's more of the same for Hollywood. And how many times does that happen where Hollywood just takes a real life story and kind of just does their own thing with it?
Well, is she going to do anything about it?
I'm not sure.
Oh, so Jungle Cruise also made $30 million on Disney Plus. Looks like its worldwide total already is $92 million when you factor in what it made domestically, internationally, and on Disney Plus. It's a lot of movies. That's a lot of money.
A lot of money for a movie.
Yeah, The Rock is an actor who I imagine he doesn't even have to, like, sue.
Well, that's why I'm shocked. Like, Red Notice is going to be on streaming.
Yeah, no, that's Netflix. Netflix doesn't drop their movies in theaters.
I know.
And if they do, it's very select.
Obviously, that's a big draw to get someone like The Rock and Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds, too, right? Like, that's a huge cast, and I'm sure...
It's a massive budget.
It's going to be
in the hundreds of millions.
I think it's going to be... I think it will be the most viewed Netflix movie. And I guess that's something you could take pride in and kind of put on your resume and show, like, this is why you should keep Netflix, or this is why you should subscribe to Netflix. And just a good thing to have. But also, that movie in theaters would make a shit ton of money. Because it is The Rock. And he is a huge box office draw.
Especially if it's good. If that movie comes out, has an 80 on Rotten Tomatoes, good word of mouth, you have those 3 stars in it. Yeah, it would make a shit ton of money. From Netflix's standpoint, they're trying to get more subscribers.
And even Don't Look Up, another Netflix movie with Leo, like, he is another he's another huge draw. All of his movies, regardless of what type of film it is, make money because of just his star power. Mm-hmm. But I guess it is more of just, they must feel it's worth it more just to have these on their resume. Look who we can get. We can get the biggest stars in the world. And this is why you're never going to get rid of Netflix. Or if you still don't have Netflix, you're going to buy it.
And for The Rock, who obviously, not obviously, but I'm assuming he negotiates back-end deals into his contracts, you're not going to get that when you're appearing on a Netflix movie. So maybe Netflix pays The Rock $15 million extra of what he normally gets on a, because The Rock is someone, you're not getting The Rock for anything less than $20 million. That seems to be the line for these megastars. It's 20 million and up. And Netflix, they love to throw their money around. Gal Gadot doesn't come cheap anymore either.
Nope.
And neither does Ryan Reynolds. I don't think they're at that Rock level, but these are 3 A-listers. For Netflix, it is going to be the most watched Netflix movie probably ever.
What's right now? Bird Box, probably?
Maybe.
I feel like every movie they release,
Maybe Extraction.
they're like, this is our biggest movie.
Mm-hmm. Be nice if we got some hard numbers from them.
Oh, no.
Only when it does well.
But even then, it's like...
It made a lot.
How do you...
It's always solid, round numbers.
Yeah.
It's never made 87.45 million. This made 100 million.
Well, they don't even make money on the movies.
Yeah.
It's like
what am I
views.
even talking about? Yeah, the views. I'm thinking of fucking
And
Disney
how many of
Plus.
those views are people who just started it and were like, I'm going to go put on Breaking Bad?
Yeah. I guess we don't need to know that.
I would like to know that.
I would like to know it, without a doubt. It would be a new way to critique a movie, right? Instead of just having the box office. Who went to go see it, who didn't? It would be who started the movie for 10 minutes. We get that on YouTube, right? We get our analytics.
Oh, they know.
Oh, they know. Yeah, that's big for them, of course. That's what they look towards that's what they look to if they're going to decide to do another one. To work with the same people that worked on that movie. I was really pissed this weekend, dude. 8 people walked out of The Green Knight.
Really?
8 people.
What were they, animals?
2. One couple walked out 40 minutes in. So I was most disappointed in them. The other people,
Slow
it was
start.
like a gang of 6.
Right.
A slow movie. But you paid for the movie. Finish the movie. It was a late showing. It was a 10:10 showing. Where else are you going to go? You're going to go out and get a drink? So you just wasted $20 between you two. And then the gang of 6, they left by like the beginning of the 3rd act. Like, you don't want to at least see? Like, if you're not enjoying it, you don't want to at least see the ending?
No, I don't get people who walk out of movies.
I'll never get it.
I walked out of the latest Fast movie, but I didn't go to see that
you're
movie.
going to do it for a bit.
Yeah. Well worth it. Probably not. But, I had an idea in my head and I just needed to get it out there. But other than that, and obviously, that's a movie, I'm still going to, watch it. Like, if I were to walk out of a movie for any reason, I would still go back and watch that movie or finish it. The only reason I would leave is, there's an emergency.
Yeah.
Or if I was making a TikTok.
I've never walked out of a bad movie.
No. I pause bad movies.
But I'm happy for it, the amount of money it's making. So it's duping some people. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite. Don't people research the movies they're going to watch? I miss those days back in the early 2000s.
No, you see Green Knight trailer, you look at it, you're like, oh, this is a cool medieval movie maybe. Not many people
new Lord of the Rings.
Are expecting or even know oh, it's an A24 type film.
Yeah, they don't know what that is.
Oh, this is like King Arthur. I like the King Arthur movie with
is Boyd Holt
Charlie Hunnam. Charlie Hunnam.
I know. But that's
they're
the
mixing
casual.
up.
Yeah,
they don't know.
They don't know. Yeah, he's from Narcos. Fucking, why do people love Narcos so much? I don't think I've met one person on Long Island that hasn't seen Narcos. Every time I tell people what I do, you're like, oh, you review Narcos?
Dude, people love fucking...
drugs.
Yeah. That's the one thing I'm excited about that we got in TIFF. Because I feel like one of the hardest things ever is when you meet new people. It's like, oh, so what do you do? Well...
Oh, yeah, they'll know it right away.
Well, now I can just be like, film and TV critic and not sound like I'm lying. Right. I'm going to TIFF.
Yeah, it's so true. Whenever I watch
that's what I say, but I don't believe it because I don't think that's really what we do. But it's also a lot easier just to say that than being like, oh, well, I'm this animated monkey and I have a blue sidekick. Bo, but that's not his real name. And we talk about stuff. And then we also have this podcast and movies and TV, but we do other it's just a whole thing. And it's oh, well, I'm a doctor. Nice.
Easy. Simple. You're not poor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a film critic. You're lying. You're poor. You're a lazy pothead.
Mm-hmm.
Only the last one is true.
Now it can be oh, well, I'm going to Toronto.
You're still poor, but you're still doing it.
Yeah. It's I got some resume.
Yeah, we got to network the hell out of that, right? Well, if you're going to Toronto,
I've had some people message me and be like, "Hey, we're living in Toronto."
Right, yeah, I've had a couple.
So I'm like,
take
okay.
you out for a drink.
Yeah, buy us drinks.
Can't say no to a free drink. All right, let's go to fan questions.
That's for the fan to decide.
Yay! People you call up to the show, you better be ready. That's what you're supposed to do. Sitting there arguing and you're trying to spell your name and all of this other stuff. It's not your show, it's my show. I'm giving you the opportunity to speak your mind. Don't call up here unless you got something to say.
This question here from Patriot459. Gun to your head. Mayor of Easttown, Queen's Gambit. Gun to my head, that's quick, Queen's Gambit.
I think we talked about like a month ago.
Yeah, who is this violent man? And why is there an incorrect or correct answer?
Speaking of Queen's Gambit, tell me, I took a picture of my little brother, who I went to go see. That's why I was away last week. And doesn't he look like Anya Taylor-Joy? Or am I bugging?
Oh, he 100% does. Yeah.
I took the picture, and I was going to tweet, like, why does this baby look like Anya Taylor-Joy? But I'm like, is it something that only I see? And people are going to be like, no, it doesn't look like Anya Taylor-Joy. But he was looking up, and I was just thinking of the Queen's Gambit. Like, this looks like Anya Taylor-Joy on drugs looking at her ceiling.
You should get him a chess set. You'd be a bad brother if you didn't.
I would be like, why did you buy my baby a chess set? It's like, he looks like this actress from a show that played chess.
Imagine he's a prodigy. You'll never know unless you get the set.
I know.
All right, well, the gun is... You're dead. So.
I'll take Queen's Gambit.
Okay.
Yeah, Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit is probably the
best. That was such a
show,
joy to watch.
It really was.
I like
Taylor-Joy.
Oh, that's great. That's really good. I like things that are fun to watch. Like, My Hero is just so fucking fun.
That's why I love anime. So much of it is just a joy.
I think I like it. I think I'm putting it ahead of Attack on Titan for me.
My Hero is my number one.
Yeah.
It's just...
It's like obviously two different shows.
Makes me feel warm and fuzzy.
I don't know if I talked about this on the pod, but like it's like Attack on Titan is Game of Thrones to maybe My Hero is Marvel, for lack of a better comparison. Obviously I like Game of Thrones more than Marvel, but I'm just saying like the vibes and the amount of fun I have watching it. Right. So, but I think when just comparing these two, the fun I'm having watching this is more enjoyable than the intrigue and kind of investment, even though that's still super high.
Well, I think, I mean, I don't want to get anybody pissed off here, but My Hero is doing the superhero stuff just as well as the MCU, if not better. And I think out of all these superhero shows, comics, and movies that we've had over the last 10 to 15 years, My Hero, to me, is still number one.
It's just so, like... And that's, like, another thing, like, I've noticed while watching... I don't know if it's like this in other animes, but it's like when Teddy was saying how he watches the sub, or the dub, it's like, I don't know how people do that. Because I feel like if I watch the English translation of what I'm reading on screen as English voices, it wouldn't make sense. Because part of the allure in watching it is, like, it's like with anime, like, kind of some of the dialogue's, like, not like real dialogue.
Yeah.
But when reading it, it makes more sense. But if like I was hearing it, it would kind of throw me off.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that like a thing?
No, I'm just yaying you because I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know. Me neither. I just have these thoughts.
I'm glad you're watching anime though.
Yeah.
It's a nice development in your character arc here. This question here. God damn it, I lost it. Oh, this question here from Wade Hampton, 22. If LeBron is so much better than Jordan, why is he yet to have a shoe as iconic as Air Jordans? I mean, make no mistake, the Air Jordan is still the number one sneaker in the world, just in terms of the look, how iconic it is. But Jordan does, I think, sabotage a lot of these athletes. I think they purposely make some of these sneakers so ugly and unappealing just so that people will buy more Air Jordans.
I used to like the Mellows.
I thought the Mellows were very nice. The Zion's first sneaker with Jordan is ugly. Even Nike has done a very poor job of designing LeBron sneakers to be more appealing to people. Everyone buys Jordans. It's not because you're a fan of basketball. It's a fashion shoe at this point. You know, you buy it. You don't play basketball in it. You wear it out when you're out and about. You color match it with your outfits and shit. LeBron sneakers are ugly. A lot of them are ugly. You saw what Kyrie Irving did over the weekend?
No.
I don't know if it was the weekend or before the weekend. He came out and he bashed the new Nike shoe that's being released, the Kai whatevers. He's like, this shoe is disgusting. It was done without my approval. I don't buy it. And this is a company that's paying him millions of dollars because they don't allow any input from these people who Yeah, especially in the NBA, they're so fashion forward.
Yeah.
They seem to all love fashion. You'd think that they'd involve them more, but what are you gonna say about Nike? They're a goddamn sweatshop.
Jordans are that's the classic. That's the original.
I mean, they don't make new ones. They just keep dropping new versions of the old ones. So,
side note: Green Goblin wearing foams in Spider-Man 1, fantastic.
What an era.
Never really got into shoes. I just buy a pair, and when they're like no longer like
run them to the ground,
I switch to gym shoes, so then I buy a new pair to replace them. Then I have my dress shoes and stuff, but other than that.
This question here from FoodFan97. Why do you bother asking for questions on Instagram when you only ever use questions from Twitter? That was an Instagram question. Thanks, FoodFan. This question here from local_skunk.
You don't ask for both. If you do it on Instagram, you don't ask for tweets, do you?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah, so.
I don't think FoodFan can't know that.
It's too busy fanning over food.
Yeah, and all the questions on Instagram just come directly to us. They're not public for everyone else to see, so he wouldn't know if I'm taking them from Insta or Twitter.
Well, if you
Unless
do
he's
like
verifying.
this question at whatchamacallit.
That is true.
That's the telltale sign.
This question here from Local Skunk. Can Nerd Soup create an anime film with your online characters? That'd be funny. Somebody do that. And we won't pay you, but we'll promote it and then monetize it and then maybe give you a cut.
No better than the studios, huh?
Yeah, I know. Jesus Christ. This question here from Steve. What's your favorite pizza place on Long Island?
Domino's.
Right, yeah. Domino's is a family owned.
Yeah.
Yeah, long time.
You got
staple
good deals.
of the community.
There's like the 555 you can get.
Yeah.
They got tons of great stuff. Pizza. I don't have like a set spot. Roma's really good. Gino's is good.
Whatever's closest, really. There's so many good pizza places in New York. We're not lying about that. Maybe some parts of New York are vastly overrated by New Yorkers, but the pizza's very good.
Yeah.
I've heard that from outsiders many times.
Yeah, of course.
This question here from Sage. Horror movies that genuinely scared you. There are a lot of horror movies that genuinely scared me.
I don't know if any of like the genuine scares I've had were from like necessarily horror movies, like jump scares. I'm not going to consider that. I'm thinking of stuff that like actually like disturbed me, and it was like, whoa, this is scary.
I would say Fire Walk with Me, maybe the movie that disturbed me the most.
I think the finale disturbed me more than that. But yeah, Fire Walk with Me, like, speaking of David Lynch, the fucking dumpster man behind the dumpster at the diner, that's fucking scary. That's a jump scare and genuinely fucking frightens me.
That's Mila Kunis. You heard about that story?
No.
Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher don't shower.
Really?
And they don't wash their kids.
That's disgusting.
That's Hollywood.
More recently, Suspiria bugged me out a little.
Oh yeah, Suspiria was creepy. The opening scene was creepy.
With what's her name?
Chloe Grace Moretz freaking out. I don't like where she's freaking out because I don't know why, but we're gonna learn.
The old beach scared me.
I want to see that.
Haven't been on the beach since.
I was thinking of going to see that tonight just by myself. This question here from Winterfell_518. What's your favorite season of television? Mine? Season 4 of Game of Thrones. Season 4 of Game of Thrones, I think the consensus is that it is the best season at this point. My favorite season of Game of Thrones would be Season 2. And I would say that's probably my favorite season of television, Season 2 of Game of Thrones, just because of I love that season because it's in the heart of the show.
Right. And that's when it really was ramping up.
Right. The politics are great. It ends brilliantly with Blackwater. And also that season finale. I
think, like, for me, like, start to finish, 4, 3, 2 are probably better than 6. But the end of 6 is just, I think, perfect. And has a lot of my favorite moments, favorite episodes. So I lean on that for Game of Thrones. Talked about it last week. Season 4 of Dexter is one of my favorites. It's it's hard to do? Like, when I think back to, like, Breaking Bad, it's hard for me to differentiate certain seasons when you binge it.
Definitely.
So it's easier, like Game of Thrones, I can tell, and probably because I watch it so many times over, but it's like, I know when season 1 starts, season 1 ends. Season 2 starts, season 2 ends. And I can tell you all like the threads and plot lines and where the characters are, because I guess when you watch the thing year to year, it's easier to differentiate. When you watch it all at once, that kind of gets muddy. But
season 4 of Breaking Bad, when Gus and Walt start going at it, that's the best season.
So many good seasons. Like the end of season 2 of Twin Peaks, but the middle of season 2 stinks. First season.
I mean, The Return.
The Return, yeah.
That's considered a season. That's number 1 for me, actually.
Yeah.
I would even put that over season 2 of Game of Thrones. I think The Return. The Return, there are times where I think it's the best thing that I've just ever seen. Ever. In my life.
I Am the FBI is probably the biggest reaction I've ever had. A
question here from Dan Sings Along. Who is your favorite hero and villain from My Hero Academia?
I can answer this one.
I'm going to go favorite hero Aizawa and favorite villain. I'm going to say Overhaul. I think he's the best villain, but I think Shigaraki eventually is going to become my favorite because what they have in store for him, I'm very excited for.
Right. So I'm still in the middle of Overhaul, so...
Oh, yeah, you haven't seen Shigaraki's best scene in that season.
No.
But you've seen when he opens up to his teammates, the League of Villains, when he unmasks himself.
Yes.
So you've seen the growth there.
I feel like Stain probably has the biggest impact so far now.
Oh, yeah, fuck. Wait, yeah, Stain's number 1.
I do like how they hero killer Stain, but like other like fat hero, fat Gomor.
Right, yeah.
Or like the way they classify the heroes. I also love some of the quirk explanations. Like others would be like super intricate, and then it'll be like Froppy, quirk, frog. I think Stain probably has the biggest impact. Even though he really wasn't there for long. He only has like a few episodes like where you actually see him in action. But like his impact throughout the show after that has been huge. My favorite hero. Are like the characters considered heroes or like pro heroes?
I'd say the kids. You can use the kids.
Okay.
Yeah, my favorite pro would be Aizawa. If I had to go the kids, it's Deku.
Yeah, Deku's just so good. I hate picking the main character, but he is just like one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, he tries so goddamn hard.
Todoroki's like, I love him.
I also love Sue.
I do love Sue. Yeah. She is great. Like for the pro heroes, I'm interested. He's not my favorite, but I'm interested to see where Endeavor goes.
Interesting. Yeah, he has good arc coming up.
It's like I have no root for him. He's kind of a piece of shit, but like I'm interested to see like how like the piece of shit being like a top hero. But it's All Might. He's the fucking best.
This question here from Friendly Ghost 41. Cinematography great, story mediocre. The perfect example of this is M. Night Shyamalan's The Village, shot by Roger Deakins.
Wait, what? Great cinematography? Great what?
Mediocre story.
Okay.
So it looks great in terms of the cinematography, but the story's not so great. I think The Village is actually entertaining. I don't think it's as bad as critics thought it was when it came out, but it is. I think it is Deakins who shot The Village. I may be wrong about that. I mean, also a lot of, Batman v Superman, to me, is still mediocre. I'm not going to shit on it as much as I used to in the past because I did like the Snyder Cut, so that kind of dampened it for me. But Larry Fong, incredible in that movie. Even Kong Skull Island, which was also shot by Larry Fong, which I did like, but a lot of people think it's a mediocre story, but it looks great.
Yeah.
You could go through some of these all-time greats and just go through their filmographies and see what shitty movies they happen to make.
Nothing really sticks out of like something I saw recently. I was like, oh, this movie sucks, but like it looks good.
That can happen though.
No, definitely.
We'll take two more questions here. This question here from Reed. If acting was an Olympics event, name 2 working actors and actresses to represent the U.S. I'm going Bryan Cranston, Mahershala Ali, and then actresses Emma Stone, and she's not American. I was going to say Saoirse Ronan. Emma Stone. Oh, Meryl Streep. She's got young and old.
All right.
Even though Bryan Cranston and Mahershala are bit, that's a big 2, man. Give me a Bryan Cranston versus Mahershala movie. I don't know. They're one's a cop, one's a drug lord.
Try like who
lords.
Who would be the best? Because you go Britain, you could do like they can send over Daniel Day and like fucking Gary Oldman,
yeah,
Christian Bale,
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, yeah.
Wait, is she?
She's from Down Under. Is she American?
She's Australian. Yeah. She's from Down Under.
Australia could put some fucking.
England just claims everyone.
Yeah. For the U.S., maybe you go like Hanks. Who else is like Denzel could be a good pick. Those are the two classics. You want to get some younger in there, you know, some up and comers. You can go like. I was talking about Adam Driver a lot. He's a good one that can just come. I think he could perform in the Olympic stage. He's not
definitely.
Shy away.
I'd put him up there.
Let's see. Yeah, but I'm gonna go Hanks and Denzel. For actresses, I'll go Amy Adams, obviously. Who'd you pick? Emma Stone?
Yeah, Emma Stone and Meryl Streep.
I'll go Frances.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question here from Real T-Pain Moneyface. Has the introduction of Kang in the TVA minimized the Infinity Saga in your eyes? No, none whatsoever.
It depends what they do. If they're like, oh, remember all that shit you loved means nothing, then I'll be a little upset. But it was still there.
I don't think that will be the case. It happened. It is what it is.
It's like for the characters.
I love the theory that the MCU is the sacred timeline, and all the other multiverses are the X-Men movies that Sony did, or the failed attempts at other Marvel projects. Well, the MCU is it's very meta and patting yourself on the back, but that's a sacred timeline, and we need to get back to that, and that's what Phase 4 is going to be about.
They explain like all the canceled like Fast and Furious movies is like Fast and Furious, like Fantastic Four. It's like, oh, we just purged that.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of that. I think you may see the original Fantastic Four actors. It's the avenue to do it.
Can you?
Yeah, you can, but it doesn't have to be anything major. It could be just a throwaway.
Chris Evans?
Yeah, seriously. I that makes sense with the TVA. Everything makes sense. Look, I mean, there's a fucking alligator Loki. So anything flies when it comes to the multiverse, and it could be a throwaway. I think that we will get a shit ton of cameos in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And a lot of people have been criticizing movies that do that these days when they're just relying on IP and things that people can recall and remember. But it would make sense, and I think it would be fun in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. It would be fun for the superhero fans who have been sticking by these movies for decades, you know, who grew up with them or who were a little older and now they get the good ones. You know, they suffer through those original ones. We grew up with some bad ones and some good ones, and now a lot of them are good. I think that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to minimize what happened in the Infinity Saga.
Well,
because they already did the multiverse in Endgame.
Well, yeah, like especially if those characters are like our Thor is still going to be Thor, and he's going to have those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything saved from that being wiped out and never happening, and the character's not referencing or having no recollection, yeah, that would piss me off. But as long as those characters know, and that's the same, like they're proceeding past that, it's like, oh, we took care of Thanos, now we're taking care of this threat. I don't think it's going to devalue that at all.
I agree. All right, guys, good questions, good podcast. Thank you for listening. This is where we are going to end it. We will be back later in the week to review The Green Knight, which is a movie that Film Twitter has been absolutely loving, and a lot of people have been absolutely hating. So I'll be interested to see if you and Teddy enjoy it, especially Teddy because he just sees the world differently from most people. So for a movie like The Green Knight, you need that type of perspective. He's going to make sense of it all.
I think I'm going to like it.
I think you guys will both like it.
Yeah. And if I don't, then, and Teddy does like it, then maybe we need to reevaluate where we stand.
Yeah, Ted coming to TIFF.
Yeah.
Ted at TIFF. Yeah, right. Kid doesn't have a passport or the vaccine.
Damn. We were making some good points in that video. Hey guys, Aaron and Nerd Suit Monkey here. Before we end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. What can I say about you guys that I haven't already said about myself? You are the most important part of the channel and the main reason we keep going strong. Like Bo says, you keep the lights on in the fridge so the fridge is full. Or something like that. So, from everyone here at Nerd Soup, I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you're interested in joining the ranks of our Patreon supporters, head over to patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out the rewards we offer to our patrons. We recently dropped some new stickers for you guys to check out, or you could choose a tier that will allow you to select a movie, show, or video game for us to review. We've got a full slate of fan-suggested reviews coming your way, and we're really excited about the chance to review some of those movies and shows. We've also got t-shirts, mugs, behind-the-scenes videos showing how we bring our videos to life. And once again, thank you to all our Patreon pledgers who have been supporting us throughout the years. Without you, we wouldn't be able to convert all your pledges into cryptocurrency, so thank you from my future self for making us rich.